Missouri's gun season opens up next weekend, and for a lot of hunters, gun season is the only time they get out there and hunt. Missouri's gun season is only open for 10 days, and it's probably about the same for most areas. So if you're only out there hunting during gun season, you've got this short window of opportunity to fill that tag. And most gun seasons fall around the rut, so your chances may feel like they're just pretty random. You have to make the most out of every opportunity if your time is limited. So in this video, we're gonna go over 3 rifle season tips so you can make it a successful rifle season. But before I go over these tips, do me a favor, and if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button and make sure you click the bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And the first rifle season tip is your first choice for stand locations should be that thick cover. Rifle season is pretty much the only time I will get right up into that thick stuff, right into those secluded bedding areas. Usually I'm trying to hunt, the trails coming in and out of them, but right now, the deer are heading to these areas trying to get away from everybody else when those gunshots start ringing out. But you need to make sure you hunt these areas very smartly, because the reason these deer are going here is because they're trying to get away from all that pressure. And so if you hunt them in a stupid way, letting your scent blow all through it, or you crash in through it on the first day, then you're just gonna make this another spot that the deer are gonna learn to avoid. Make sure those conditions are in your favor every time you go in there, and if they're not, try to find someplace else. But rifle season also offers you the opportunity to sit farther away from these secluded areas where conditions are maybe more favorable, maybe up on a ridgetop looking down into the thick bottoms, because obviously you can reach out a lot farther with that rifle. Another way you can take advantage of these areas with a rifle that you can't with a bow is a lot of times they don't really lend themselves too well to hunting with a bow up in a tree stand, because that mid-story is just too thick. You can't really get a clear shot beyond 10 yards without having to go in there and clear a whole bunch of shooting lanes. In those areas, I like to sit on the ground because that real thick mid-story doesn't let a lot of stuff grow underneath. So you can get you have pretty far visibility when you're sitting on the ground on that buck's level. Now, again, you gotta be careful with your movement, but luckily with a rifle, you don't have to move a whole lot. But consider that. Maybe there's areas that you've wanted to hunt, but you just can't really get a tree stand in there. With that rifle, go sit on the ground. And the second tip for a successful rifle season is to try to hunt during the middle of the day. Die-hard hunters will probably tell you that you absolutely have to sit all day long during the rut. And while it's definitely not a bad strategy, some people just can't pull off those all-day sits. So if that's you, try to make a point to at least sit between that 10 to noon time frame. And this is when those secluded thickets are really gonna shine, because a buck that's been out cruising all night looking for a hot doe may find a place to bed down for a while and then get up in this, 10, maybe 9 o'clock time frame, stretch his legs, find some stuff to eat, or go out searching for does again. And this is also a time when a lot of people are getting out of the tree stand and going to get some breakfast or go take a nap or whatever, and they may bump deer toward you. So make sure you stay a little longer than everybody else to take advantage of this. And you don't necessarily need to sit in the same spot all day either. If you sat somewhere in the morning and it's been absolutely dead, there's been nothing, not even squirrels running around, you might try someplace else where you may think you have better luck in that 9 to noon range. Just make sure you pay attention to the wind, you walk slowly, and definitely wear your orange, even if you are on private land, because you never know. And the third tip for a successful rifle season is to get vocal. Like I said in the beginning of the video, rifle season tends to fall around the rut for most places. It might be off a little bit, depending on the state, but it's pretty much around that time frame. Rattling in a buck is a dream for every hunter, and the rut is a good time to try to do it. But there is a good way to rattle in a buck, and then there's a bad way. Start off rattling lightly. I mean, not so light, but rattle kind of lightly in case there's anything close. And then if you don't hear anything and nothing responds to it, then you can really start hitting it a lot harder, make that sound travel farther. Rattle once every half hour or so in, 3 to 5 minute durations, and kind of space those out a little bit. NDA actually just did a good video on rattling and some pretty interesting studies they've done. If you've got some cloud cover, if it's a cloudy sky, they found that deer responded 60% or 60% more likely to respond to a rattle, which is kind of weird. I don't know why cloud cover has anything to do with it. Obviously they're still studying it, but it's a very interesting thing, and I will link that video down below so you can give it a watch. It goes into some good details about how you should rattle based on those studies. So that was 3 tips for hunting during the rifle season. If you've got any more rifle season tips you'd like to share, make sure you leave those down in the comments below. Hit that like button if you like this video, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure that you are subscribed so you can stay informed.